Hello, good people. Welcome back to the channel. We're doing the Action Bible journey. We're traveling on this epic expedition and we're going through the entire Bible in 315 days. Today, it is day 90, which also means it is a new period. Today, we're starting period 17. And so we're going to have two videos today. First, let's have a look at what to expect in the next few days as we're doing our readings. And then also in the second video, we'll do the summary for today. Now, it is period 17. It is the return and rebuilding. We're going to be going from day 90 up to day 96 for this period, where we're going to be reading Ezra, Nehemiah, and the book of Esther. So the authors of these books, well, it is Ezra himself, the priest, it is Nehemiah, the cupbearer, and the book of Esther is not really known, but traditionally it is attributed to Mordecai. So he's writing personal memoirs of the rebuilding efforts, that is Ezra and Nehemiah, and it is the records of the preservation of the people in Persia, which is the book of Esther. In the timeline for these books, it is from 538 BC up to 430 BC, the post-exilic era. It is also written during these events. And then where are we? Well, the ruins of Jerusalem and the palaces of Susa, which is Persia. And it is written also in Jerusalem and Persia. The key verse for this period, it comes from Ezra chapter 3 verse 11. With praise and thanksgiving they sang to the Lord. He is good. His love to Israel endures forever. Now the transition to this period, it is 70 years of silence. The people are settled in Babylon, but then a miracle of geopolitics occurs. Persia conquers Babylon and King Cyrus issues a decree, go home. Now the story arc for this period that we're going to be going through, well, this is a story of the pioneers who went back. So Ezra, it is a priest who leads a spiritual rebuilding, constructing the temple amidst tears and opposition. And then Nehemiah is a cupbearer who leads the physical rebuilding, constructing the wall in just 52 days while holding a sword in one hand and a trowel in the other. And then for Esther, meanwhile, back in Persia, a Jewish orphan becomes queen and saves her people from genocide through a coincidence that reveals God's invisible hand. Now, there's two Jesus connections also in this period. Firstly, of course, the temple. The new temple, it was less impressive than Solomon's, but Haggai prophesied its glory would be greater because the Messiah would one day walk in it. And then also another Jesus connection is the intercessor. Esther risking her life to save her people, saying, if I perish, I perish. It mirrors Jesus risking everything to save his bride. Then some fast facts for this period. Firstly, the name of God. Now the book of Esther, it actually never mentions the name of God, yet his providence, it is evident on every page. Then another interesting fact is the wall. Right? Jerusalem needed a wall not just for defense, but also to mark it as a holy city, separate from the nations. Then another fast fact is Mordecai. Now he was from the tribe of Benjamin, the same as King Saul. So by defeating Haman, who was an Agagite, he finishes the war that Saul failed to finish against Agag. And then the cupbearer. Nehemiah, he wasn't a builder, he was a cupbearer. His job was to taste wine for poison, meaning that he was the most trusted man in the empire. Then some things to watch out for, three things that we can look out for in this period. Firstly, the opposition. Right? Every time that they start to build, the enemy attacks, whether mockery, legal threats, or fatigue. Watch how they fight back. Then also something to watch out for such a time as this. Around this famous line from Esther, it reminds us that our placement in history is not an accident. And then finally, what else can we watch out for? The good hand. Now look for the phrase, The good hand of my God was upon me. This is the theme of the return. So with all these things to look forward to in period 17, I'll see you in the next video for the summary of today's reading.